I'm pleased that you get the deal done with Gustav then.
Yeah, very pleased. Obviously, when we lose Carl, who was an excellent servant for the club, it's important that we quickly get someone to come in. So he's a highly rated young player, and we look forward to seeing him play.
It's a player you've been aware of for a while, Brendan?
Yeah, he's. I said before, I think the club here have got a great pipeline of players that are in place, and there's always a plan if one is to move on. So he's one that's been the guys have looked at for a long time.
Is he available for this weekend?
Yeah,
because he'll be up to speed fitness wise.
Yeah, he's been playing, so fitness wise he's fine.
And Stephen Welsh signing a new deal today?
Yeah, great for him. He picked up a little bit of a knock today, which was a shame for him, considering obviously just signing his deal and announcing that. So, but yeah, really pleased for him. He's a guy that loves Celtic, loves playing here. He's been a great player within the squad over these last number of years. Maybe not played as much as what he would have liked, but his heart's very much here, and I'm delighted for him that he's committed to sign him.
How long will he be missing?
But I don't know. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that.
Give us an update on Cameron Carter-Vickers and Rio from the weekend.
Yeah, just obviously not available for this weekend, so we just have to assess them and see how they are over the coming weeks.
You'd mentioned previously, I think, that you wanted 4 competitive centre-backs. You brought in the 2 new guys. There's Cameron there as well, and Stephen signed a new deal. Is there now a decision to be made with the likes of Yuki Kobayashi and Liam Scales?
Yeah, there's always decisions on players. So I said earlier before as well, is that I think by the time the window shuts by the end of the month, then there'll be movement within the squad. So that's what you're assessing at this moment.
How do you view this game on Sunday, Kilmarnock? A tough away venue?
Yeah, tough game. I watched the game against Rangers and they did very well. Derek's teams are always very well organised. Some of the most competitive in the country, and and he's a very experienced and excellent manager. So I expect and anticipate a tough game for sure, and that's what we'll be preparing for.
Just with the way this competition's set up, it gives you the chance to get into the latter stages of a cup competition very early in the season. That can be a real boost. Yeah,
I enjoyed that side of it when I was here last time. You got something to play for early on, which is great. So having that opportunity to get to a final early on in the season is very, very good. So for us, it's we have to work hard to get there. I think you have to earn the right, and that's something that we'll look to do at the weekend.
You'd said previously that you would look to bring in a player to replace Jota. There's been speculation surrounding Daniel Podence at Wolves. Is there anything you can bring us on that?
No.
None at all?
None at all.
And Ryan Fraser at Newcastle, another one?
None at all.
You mentioned Derek's team's always hard to play against. He seems to have had the chance this summer to put his own stamp on the team a bit more because of the way the contract situation, where you can see they've hit the ground running. Is that kind of, do you know what you're always going to face when you're playing against Derek's sides?
Yeah. Not surprised. It doesn't surprise me. Obviously, done a fantastic job at Aberdeen, and when I was up here first time, they were always very competitive, always very tough games. He's got promoted with Kilmarnock, and now is wanting to establish them in the division, and like you say, after that first season, putting his own stamp on it. So he's been able to refresh the squad, get the profile of players that he wants in, and they're very difficult to play against. That mixture between man to man and zonal when they're defending deeper. But we obviously anticipate a tough game. Obviously, the surface always plays a part, but we can't have any excuse going to the game. We're in the competition to try and win it, and if you're going to do that, you're going to have to beat good teams and come across difficult opponents.
You also had some cup finals against Derek back in your early in your Celtic career as well. Really a big chance to kind of kickstart your project here as well, because of it comes so early, like you did the last time.
Yeah. As I said, it's a game we want to win. We want to get into the next round, and we'll do everything we possibly can. We'll have great support there to help us, and our idea is to get into the next round.
There's been a lot of chat among the fans anyway about club signings, Brendan Rodgers signings. How many more players are you looking to get in, and can you talk us through the sort of recruitment process, how players are sort of brought to you and whether you get a big say in I want that guy or this is the man for me?
Yeah, no, it's pretty simple, and in terms of how it works, ultimately, I will develop and coach the players that the club provide me, and then the process of the club providing me the players is that we have a great network here of scouts headed up by Mark, who, as I've said before and I repeat, he's done a fantastic job working within the model of the club and bringing the players in that fit in with the club, which allows the club to be sustainable and successful at the same time. So they have a pipeline of players there that all will fit in, and then it's sort of then really picking the profile that fits us best, and then and of course I play a part in that. So but they do a lot of the great work. They watch players over numbers of months, so that they have, various players for each position. And so whenever we do lose one, like you say with Gustav, there's a replacement to come in. So, but it's not always straightforward. It always takes time, and but like I say, a lot of great work that goes on. And ultimately, as I said, I will coach and develop and work with the players that I'm provided, and of course I have a part in that. But the club's run very, very well. It's very sustainable, and that's what's given it that stability and success over a number of years. And it's my responsibility to adhere to that.
Does that differ much from the way it worked at Leicester?
We can't compare in terms of resources at the Premier League, and is totally different. It's I think in terms of it, at Leicester was a club that was difficult for us in the final year, but likewise there, the club would identify players that we'd know types of players we would want, like a Wesley Fofana or James Justin, the profile of player, Tillemans, whoever it was, and then the club would do everything they can to get it, and it was all within obviously a certain budget. There was a certain budget that the club could never get to, and most clubs are the same. Celtic, obviously, we don't have that resource, but it still means we can have good players and players that we can develop and improve.
How far away are this team, or where do you think the team are right now for the way you want them to play? You've had two games now, but you're starting to see the style you want?
In sections of the game, I think it's time. It really is. I think that whilst we're searching for that, and that's called development, that's development of players, and that's players understanding systematically what we're looking for and how we want to work. The principles, a lot of it is the same in terms of pressing. I think you see a lot of the game now where you have a lot of man-to-man marking. So when you're playing against man-to-man, then the best pass is a forward pass that breaks the line of the marking. So you'll see direct balls that'll go through quickly into the attacking line. But also you should see patience in the game as well, where you need to attract teams out to then draw them out of positions to get in behind. But I think overall it's going to take a wee bit of time for me to be really, really happy with the idea of what I'm saying. But what I will say is very, very early in the stage. One, you need to win. That's important. And I need to see attitude and energy in the players, and that's what I'm saying.
I've noticed a lot of more direct passing. I wasn't sure if that was due to the pitch last week at Aberdeen. The grass was long, and then of course we've got the AstroTurf at Aberdeen. Is that something you've been implementing from the start, or is that just down to the circumstances, the pitches?
It's a wee bit of both. I think it's just, obviously you're always looking at the opponent as well, and like I say, when a team is really pressing you, and they have maybe 6 players up against your 18-yard box or in that area, final third of the pitch, then it's finding different ways to break through that pressure. I think if you look at any top level games, where you see teams that will either play through the pressure, play around it, play over the top of it. you know, in your build-up phase. Build-up phase isn't just always short passing. Build-up phase is about attracting teams in as well and finding a different line, and especially when you have got speed on the back line. So you're just trying to bring variety to your game. But over time, the players then make better decisions on when to play short, when to play through, when to come back to start a new attack, and that's just adaptation.
Matt Riley spoke about it recently, talking about how his roles changed a wee bit recently. Same with Cal McGregor. How have their roles changed since you've come in?
Probably just adding extra players in the build-up. I think with Matt, he's like what I would call a hybrid player, where rather than being always up there, he can come down to support when the team's under pressure. And then obviously then he can arrive into the game. You know, there's certain players that if they're up too high too early, they can't get their body work, and he's a player that's fantastic with his body, you know, and how he takes the ball. But also arriving a little bit later allows him to see the picture develop, and then he can get into the right spaces. So that's just about timing, that's just about positioning. And likewise with Callum. Callum's used to playing as a single striker. Sometimes if you get impressed, you might need someone else beside you. If you do, then that has an effect on the fullback. Sometimes the fullbacks will be in, sometimes they'll be outside. So it's just them adapting to those little, they'll seem small tweaks, but just when you've been used to playing a certain way, principles, like I said, I repeat, are very much the same. Fast, tempo. But the modern game at the highest level is about changing the rhythm of the game as well. You know, we want to play fast, direct football, of course, but sometimes if a team's deep, you have to attract them out to find new spaces.
Brendan, there was a report earlier in the week that said that the club is maybe looking to speak to Leal and Rio about new contracts. Is that something you'd be keen on in terms of new deals for these two lads?
Well, clearly, yeah. Both talented players and both very much a part of what we want to do. But both are, you know, I think got 3 years left on their deal, so they're not up for renewal. But both players, I'm sure their agents will be talking with the club.
Sure. And obviously the club is taking the decision not to take tickets for the Rangers match. Concerns over supporter safety. Do you think the fixture is diminished if there are no away fans in this fixture?
Listen, we're away off the Rangers game yet, so I don't want to speak too much on that. My focus is purely all on Kilmarnock. I think any decision that's ever made, what I will say on it, is for the safety of the supporters, and that's all I would say.
Any other team news, Brendan, other than what we've discussed?
No, nothing else new.
In Rio and Cameron, you don't expect them to be long term, no?
No, it's just we have to just monitor it over the next week or two.